Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulites. This is Angela with another edition of Notes on the News. It's not news, it's where I read to you headlines from my news feed and give you my thoughts and opinions about them headlines, them stories that come with it, or the subject matter at large. But like I said, it's not news, it's just my thoughts on the news headlines. Hold on. Here we go. Let us proceed. Pirelli Calendar 2018, a different vision of Wonderland. I don't know what Wonderland is. Maybe Alice in Wonderland. I don't know what the Pirelli calendar is. I don't know if it's something that they do every year, but this year they got an all-black version. Lupita Nyong'o, Puff Daddy, some other people that we've heard of or I've heard of. So hey, when I saw the image yesterday, it was I can't remember which black people it was. When I went back to my news feed, it was some other black people. So I had to hit the thing just to see, and it's some calendar to come out of Pirelli. Y'all know about the Pirelli calendar? Is it just me? Okay, hold on. Come on, girl. Hold on a second. Okay. June 12th, 1967, U.S. Supreme Court invalidated laws prohibiting interracial marriage. That was about 4 years before I was born. So it was basically illegal. I'm not really into interracial marriages or not into them. The two I've had have been, the people who were phenotype black. They look unambiguously black. 1967, it's like this stuff. I remember when I first thought about the civil rights movement and integration, and I'm like, dang, there are people whose parents and grandparents were out there throwing bottles, shooting people, hanging people. Like, no, you can't sit in the front of the bus. Like, we protest, we're fighting for this. No, you can't come to our school. Like, that was like their thing, and they're like still alive and still out here. And the same thing with the interracial marriage laws. Like, these people still out here, they still alive. This ain't no old, that's been so long ago. No, it hadn't. Japanese sumo star Haru Mafuji retires after violent assault against one of his junior colleagues. And they say that, I guess in sumo wrestling, there's some mafia ties and hazing of younger people, like junior members. And I think that part of the story is that young homeboy was on his phone, and they felt that the person was disrespectful and had shown some of the people felt that the person was disrespectful and had shown a pattern of disrespect, i.e., don't be using your phone when I'm talking to you, i.e., don't be checking your text messages during this meeting, i.e., this is no. So in sumo wrestling, I think you just, bump into people. You don't be like beating people down or nothing. But this person got a beat down, I guess. That's y'all know about this? Okay, that was just the headline. Deliveroo offers £6 restaurant lunchbox service in London, like $6, but £6, which is not necessarily $6, but their currency. So the restaurant delivery service is hot in London, and this is just a new entry. But I just like the Deliveroo, and also the idea of a flat rate lunchbox service. I don't know why. B. Siegel, this is Detroit, store mixed-use development plans revealed. So there's a spot in Detroit, maybe like 7 Mile and Livernois, and there used to be a B. Siegel store, like a big department store that doesn't exist anymore. The place, I don't think it's anything in it now, but it's been different things over the years. But there's like plans to redevelop it and have some mixed use, like I think 10 living units, some boutiques, some parking underneath. So yeah, they revealed the development plans, but there ain't no date. How you gonna have a plan without a date? Andy Rubin reportedly left Google after inappropriate relationship. So he said he just left because he just was leaving. But according to this article, it seems that there had been some internal investigation of some stuff that he had done with a subordinate, a female subordinate, that led to him leaving, maybe before they fired him or whatever. India, hotel guest arrested for stealing 120 TVs over 4 months. So he would check into a hotel. The people who worked in the hotel thought he seemed to be decent and orderly. He would have a large bag. He would go in and out of his room enough that nobody noticed when he finally left his room one time and never came back. And the TVs would be gone. And he was doing it for 4 months all over the place. He was arrested, allegedly. I guess he's alleged to have done this. But I think the way that he got caught is he was selling the TVs, and the person who he was selling the TVs to turned him in. So they're thinking about evaluating him for mental health, which was interesting to me because I was thinking, oh, well, he's a thief. He found a way to make money stealing TVs and reselling them. I wasn't thinking, oh my God, this guy is stealing TVs. He's cuckoo crazy. But maybe that's like an American mindset. Apple removes Philippines leader Duterte execution games. So I guess there were some, like they say that extrajudicial executions. And I don't know why that term stuck out in my mind, because you know how in this country we have a lot of extrajudicial executions, i.e. we be killing people on the streets, i.e. the police, not me, but we, society, the police, be killing people on the street. People meaning black people on the street. Extrajudicial killings. Oh my God, he was smoking weed, so I had to shoot him down. Oh my God, he had a toy gun, even though guns are legal in the state, so I had to shoot him down, even though he was 12, but he looked 18. But if he was 18 and he had a gun, it's legal in the state, but I had to shoot him down. Extrajudicial executions. But apparently in the Philippines, they have this big war against drugs. We know something about that in this country because that's how the last big wave of black folks to get arrested and put into the new enslavement system got into the new enslavement system. The war on drugs. We're fighting criminals. We're fighting drugs. But you're fighting low-level people who don't own no planes, who ain't importing the drugs into the country. You fighting the people who are selling the drugs on the streets, making $20,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year. But the people who are making millions and billions of dollars a year, you're not fighting them. You fighting the black people on the streets that you can lock up and then steal their labor. So Duterte in the Philippines apparently has something similar going on. I'm not really clear, but the only thing that I think that I know about Duterte that I always try to remind myself of is, isn't he the one that called President Obama when Obama was about to go visit him a son of a bitch? Is that the one? Or said something about him being a black nigger or something. He seemed a little crazy and out of line to me. That's when he first came to my attention. If it's who I'm thinking of, maybe I'm mixing him up with somebody else. But there were a bunch of games in the Apple store, when you can buy games, where Duterte, or a character representing Duterte, was killing, criminals on the street. Oh my God, you have marijuana and I'm going to shoot you. Oh my God, you have this and I'm going to kill you. And it was a game. It's so fun. So people have been complaining about it. So Apple took almost all of those games down. Trump's new pick for the country's top health position is going to the Senate today, where he'll be grilled about drug pricing. So, of course, Zero's pick to be the top health person is someone who was in the pharmaceutical business. And I guess when he was at this pharmaceutical company, this big corporation, the price of insulin has gone up 300%. And they're probably connected because agricultural pharmaceutical companies seem to have this connection, where they feed, and they probably increase the sale of sugar and adding sugar to all kinds of things to increase the amount of people who have diabetes, who need to have this insulin drug. And then they killing you paying to kill yourself on one side, and then you paying them to quote unquote heal you on the other side. But anyway, that's who Zero has selected to be the top healthcare person in the country, someone who works for a pharmaceutical company, or who's affiliated with a pharmaceutical company. And pharmaceutical companies are not about health or treatment. They're about making money off of people who are sick. And then the agricultural business is not about feeding people. It's about killing people and making people sick with so-called food and chemicals. But that's just me. Entire house fly tipped in New Zealand. And when I saw it, I was like, what in the world? I thought maybe it was like a protest. Like, oh, you clearing this land and you're going to put a mall here, but we protest this mall. We don't want this mall, so we about to dump this house on the property to give you something else to do before you can put the mall, because we protest. But it's more like in my neighborhood, like there's certain places where I walk by where there'll be a mattress and a chair. And then it'll sit the mattress in the chair, and then eventually you'll see like some bags of garbage or some other stuff added to it. And then it'll sit there for like maybe a month, and then it'll be cleared away. And then like 2 or 3 days later, there'll be a couch dumped there. So like somebody, instead of taking their stuff to the dump, is dumping they found this place where they dump stuff on the street. And I suspect that it's someone who is not just like, it's a business. I think it's someone who's running a business, and maybe they have, as part of their business, they clear out the apartments. Like, let's say you have a rental business and you rent apartments to people. And then when the people move out, they leave stuff behind. And so you take that stuff, instead of taking it to the dump where you have to pay money, you just dump it in the black neighborhood, or in this neighborhood, or not in your neighborhood. You're not dumping it out in front of your house. You're dumping it someplace for somebody else to take responsibility for cleaning up. And I'm like, well, clearly somebody who's dumping a house on a property had to pay money to dump that house there. So that's expensive. But when I read the article, it said it's cheaper to fly tip it, where they dump the house on this piece of property, than it is to demolish it. So that's probably what they were doing. Learn something new every day. ESPN to lay off 150 people behind the scenes, 150 behind the scenes employees. So not necessarily on air personalities, although I got my eye on Jemele Hill. Didn't she work for ESPN? Isn't she the one that got into some back and forth with Zero? But that's 150 seems like a lot. Now, I don't know. Maybe they have 6 million people who work there, so 150 is a small percentage. Or maybe they only have 300 people who work there, so 150 might represent half the people who work behind the scenes. I don't know, but 150 does sound like a lot to me. That sounds stressful. 15 of the most famous celebrity dynasties in Hollywood fired. Today host Matt Lauer's contract was reportedly worth $25 million a year. Here's how that compares to other top TV show hosts. When I looked through the list, I was surprised to see so many women in that list. I think I saw one blackish, brownish person, but it might have been more than that. But I was surprised to see so many women on that list. Judge Judy was up there. MoviePass ramps up business development team with 2 key hires. I'm really interested in this whole MoviePass thing, but I haven't gotten one. White racism course sparks controversy at Florida University. Bolivia court allows President Evo Morales to seek 4th term. They went to court before so that he could seek a 3rd term, apparently. So now they're letting him seek a 4th term. And it reminds me of Zero loading, appointing all of these people to different judicial positions, because they'll be the ones making certain decisions about things. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross is low-key having the worst week ever. And in the article, they kind of explained what low-key meant. I don't know who Wilbur Ross is. I just thought the low-key thing was interesting. A couple bought one of the most exclusive streets in San Francisco for $90,000. Now, the city is making them give it back. I saw this article. It seemed like it's been about 3 or 4 months ago. They bought the street, and they were going to charge people to park on it. It was some fluke, and they bought the street. And it's like the houses are really expensive, but they bought the street for like $90,000, but the houses are like $3 million. So they couldn't afford a house, but they could afford the street. But anyway, it's an interesting story. North Korea says new missile puts all of U.S. in striking range. You might have more control over aging than you think. Here are 5 things you can do to slow it down. Can you slow down aging? I think you can advance aging. I don't know if you can slow it down, but anyway. It takes $1.7 million to get your kid into an elite college, according to rich people. I think this is like a revamp of a story that was done maybe 5 years ago or 10 years ago, but when the last time they did the story, I think it was $300,000. So it's getting more and more expensive to get your children into like Ivy League schools, because it starts with the kindergarten, where they go to kindergarten, where they go to pre-K. I don't know what other things are involved with getting your children into elite colleges, but it's expensive. $1.7 million. There's confusion about U.S. troop levels in the Middle East, and Trump may keep it that way. Oh, he stay in confusion. Zero is a master of confusion and mess and BS and lies and obscuring things. There's a fancy word for that, obscurification. That's not the fancy word, but obscuring things. One of the most powerful people arrested in Saudi Arabia's corruption crackdown has been released after more than 3 weeks. And I think today it was also after $1.5 million that he paid. YouTube's community social feature set to expand to more creators. I don't know anything about the community social feature. Clearly, I'm not one of the creators that's in the mix. Albuquerque sheriff draws backlash over refusal to use body cams. I think that his position is that the body cams, you're just trying to use the body cams to frame my sheriff deputies, my sheriff people, and I'm not going to do it. Women are coming forward to reveal their stories of alleged abuse at Massage Envy after bombshell report. It was like 150 people who say that they were, people was massaging the sides of their boobies and they complained and the people were like, oh, shut up, or, oh, it's no big deal. And, I have had massages before and I have never felt sexually assaulted or uncomfortable or like anyone was unprofessional or like they were crossing the lines. And I've heard of Massage Envy. I've never been there. I remember it's like this big chain. And when I was in Mississippi, I remember seeing them advertising all over the place, like all their specials and stuff. But they say the people are poorly trained and I guess crazy. They just figure it's an opportunity for them to, I'm going to rub on somebody's booty. I don't know what they doing in Massage Envy. Denmark has the happiest people in the world, and there are 3 ways anyone can be more like them. We like being happy, right? Happy's a good thing. 33-year-old who tried to kick the the 33-year-old who tried to trick the Washington Post with a fake sexual harassment story has a long history of sting operations backfiring. Maybe that's not your wheelhouse. Maybe that's not your strength. Maybe you're not good at that and you need to find another job, career, pursuit. I'm just saying. Or I guess if you keep working at it, you get better. Practice makes perfect. Jennifer Garner thriller Peppermint adds Kyla Drew and Annie Ilanze. Somebody in that picture must have been brown for me to have it in my news feed. I don't know. Jennifer Garner is but anyway. Only 28 people at a time can visit this stunning island in Fiji. Take a look around. The leading presidential candidate in Honduras says he'd review the U.S. troop presence there if he wins. Here's the story of the Native American code talkers who Trump made his Pocahontas comments to. One of them was like, we didn't all volunteer for the job. Some of us were drafted, and we didn't know when we were getting drafted and volunteering what we were going to be doing. It's sort of like, oh, we're just using your language and your culture for our benefit. Because I heard the man talking about the enemy, and I'm like, shit, if I'm Native American, the enemy is all of y'all. But anyway, bloody sewage from Canada fish plant threatens wild salmon. So they got this fish farm here, and they chemicals and mess is leaking out of their fish farm into the ocean. So you going out of your way to buy free range salmon. What do they call it? Unfarmed salmon. You don't want the farm salmon. You want the other salmon. But they done chemicalized it and jacked it up. So you getting jacked up no matter what. That's like that corn. When you try to get organic corn, the way that corn fertilizes itself is through wind movement. So a lot of times if somebody is growing GMO corn in your area, the wind will blow the pollen and it'll contaminate your corn, and so your corn is no longer non-GMO. It's like these chemicals and this bull stuff. It's aggressive. It's trying to bring you down. That's how it seems on the surface. But God is always trying to bring us up and is bringing us up. Yes. Washington State sues Uber over data breach, this thing that they kept secret. Breakthrough in coral restoration, says researchers. California marijuana industry may be in deep trouble. So, yay! Another edition of Notes on the News is complete. Thank you so much for joining me, sticking around. I'm Angela again. The channel is Be Fabulous You. Like, comment, subscribe, share. We're still working on 200 subscribers. So if you are a subscriber, thank you. And if you aren't, it's not too late to be a charter subscriber. Today is the best day ever. You are number one. You are the greatest. The greatest you out here is you. So you know what you need to do. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you.